Well guys, we're back in the shop today for another product review. I'm telling you what, it's cold. I'm not only wearing a jacket and jeans, I'm also wearing this. I'm wearing socks. TC, is that weird? We were contacted by a company called LiTime to test out one of their fantastic 80 amp lithium, well, they're only 80 amp lithium battery charger. This couldn't have come at a better time. I want you guys to think back. Do you remember when we installed that lithium battery in our camper? Yeah, that was a pretty cool video and a really cool battery. But it came with a problem. In order to upgrade our batteries in the RV from lead acid to lithium, I also had to upgrade the converter from a lead acid converter to a lithium converter charger. So I did that. Well, my due diligence and research paid off because I found a really good deal on Amazon. It was the same make, it was the same model number, and it was also the same amperage that the old converter was in the camper. So I didn't have to upgrade the wiring or nothing. I could just direct swap this converter charger from lead acid to lithium. When I installed that 300 amp hour lithium battery into the camper, I had to discharge it quite a ways in order to do the test for the video. And I thought this is the perfect opportunity for me to show my great work in installing this converter charger. And we're gonna try to charge the battery up in the same video. Let me tell you what, I was less than impressed. Well, the first problem with that converter is the fan. It's extremely loud and you can pretty much hear it outside and it runs all the time. It never takes a break. And then secondly, when it charges the battery, it doesn't put anywhere close to 55 amps into that battery. It's more like 30, 35. Well, in translation, when you have a 300 amp hour battery that's down to like 50% and you need to charge it up, 35 amps isn't gonna do it. It's gonna take forever. And as a matter of fact, the app for the battery was telling me that it could have taken up to 18 to 24 hours in order to charge that battery from 54% all the way up to 100. I was not impressed with that converter at all. Actually, it's still installed in the camper. I'm going to end up doing a swap because I found out something interesting. Did you know that I was the victim of a scam? Actually, it's not a scam. It's just, this apparently is a knockoff converter from the name brand. I only learned that sort of by accident because I was scrolling through YouTube videos and I found a video from Big Truck Big RV that talked about this specific converter that I bought on Amazon. It was exactly the same one that I bought. So I watched this video, realized that I fell for it, and I needed a better way to charge that battery. That's where this comes in. This is an 80 amp charger that's going to charge that battery really, really fast. At least that's the hope. Now this is different than the converter charger that's installed in the camper because that's like a permanent setup. This is more something that you can use when you need it. You don't have to leave this thing plugged in all the time. I guess you can if you want to, but that's not how we're going to use it. Well, this opportunity with LiTime couldn't have been better coordinated. They originally contacted me wanting me to review a couple of their lithium batteries. I kind of declined, and then they said, well, check out our website, and if there's anything on the site that you would like to review, just let us know, and we'll talk about it. Well, I found this on their website, told them I was interested, they agreed, and then they sent it to me for a review. So let's get this box open and see what it comes with. So this is how the box came from the shipper. Even with that black tape. Do you believe me? Check out this new knife Christy got me. This is pretty cool. Let's get into this puppy. All right, guys, here we go. We're seeing it together for the first time. Again, do you believe me? There we go. Oh, look at that. Right on top is their little pamphlet that says LiTime on it. And it's the product manual. Opening up the box here, the first thing that you come across is the leads. This is what connects to your battery. So we'll look at that in a second. Then the only other thing really in here is the charger itself. So let's get this box out of the way. So then here's the connection that goes onto that connection from the battery. And then this is the side that you plug into the wall. This is the 110 outlet, or the 110 plug. All right, I'm gonna pull this styrofoam off if I can get it to come off. Man, they're serious about this foam. Oops, sorry guys. Getting back to this connector, this is really nice. It's got an Anderson style connector, and then you connect these two leads to your battery. And I guess you can just leave this permanently installed in your battery, so when you need this charger, you have the quick connect process here with the Anderson, and then you just kind of plug it in, and you're all set to go. Ugh, that's a tight fit. Well, just a heads up, there's been a couple of videos that have come out with a complaint regarding these terminals, and these are apparently too small, or they were too small, for the batteries that the people were installing them in. So they had to replace these with bigger, what are these even called? Yeah, they're terminals. Now, I haven't checked our battery, but I think that these are going to fit ours just fine. But that's it, guys. That's what comes in the box. Pretty simple, huh? I'm really looking forward to seeing how much faster this will charge that battery than the converter that's installed in the camper. There's a couple of things, too, that you need to be concerned with. You got to make sure that you check your battery and make sure that it can accept this kind of amperage. Now, our battery can accept up to 200 continuous amps of power, so that's a good thing. We're going to be set. But make sure that you check yours first. Well, one thing that I did find inside this manual, if I can find it here, is the charging modes. It's right here. I'll put a little graphic up right here. But there's 3 different charging modes. There's a pre-charge stage, a constant current charging stage, and a constant voltage charging stage. That's a tongue twister. Well, what it does when you first plug the battery in, it'll start charging at a pretty low rate. And then once it gets to a certain point, it'll ramp it all the way up to 80 amps. And it'll be constant all the way across 80 amps until it gets to another certain point, and then it starts to trickle off. And that way it keeps the battery safe and it doesn't damage it. I guess that last part can even be considered like a trickle phase. I don't know. According to LiTime's website, this charger will charge a 300 amp hour battery from 0 to 100 in 3.75 hours. That totally beats 18 to 24 hours, right? One of the last things I want to mention here, guys, before we go start this test, is it's got multi-level protection. So it's got reverse polarity connection protection, output over voltage protection, output short circuit protection, and then it's also got over temperature protection. I know some people might recommend putting a fuse between their battery and this charger, which is really a good idea, but it's nice to know that they have those built-in protections too. Are you guys ready to get this installed and get this test going? Me too. Well, guys, there's nothing left to do now but to get this installed on the battery, get this charger connected, and see what happens. Oh, there is another thing. I got to go discharge the battery. All right, guys, we're out here at the camper. Let me take you into our little honey hole here where we have the battery set up. Now, I know I told you guys I was going to be changing this battery setup, but I kind of like the way it is. Anyway, there's our terminals there, so we've got to connect that Anderson connector to those terminals, and then we're going to just probably leave the Anderson connector connected to the battery pretty much all the time. Great plan, Kevin. Well, I want to pull up the battery app right now and show you guys what our status is. Come on. I want to pull up the battery app and show you guys what our status is, so I'm going to click on that right there. I'm going to pull up the app. We are at 98% charge right now. We're at 13.77 volts, and there's no power coming into the battery right now because it's fully charged. It says it's fully charged. That converter only charges it to 98%. I'm not sure why. Well, in order to test out this charger, I need to deplete this battery. So I'm going to plug something in, try to get the battery down to say 50%, and then we'll come back tomorrow and we'll do this test. Well, guys, I'm here inside the camper. Can you hear the converter fan inside there? That is really loud. All right, guys, we're all powered up. Can you see the green light? All right, we're back inside the camper again, so let's get the main power on. We'll get the refrigerator because it's got some outlets, GFI, the microwave, and the fireplace. We'll leave the converter off. I decided to go ahead and plug in the Set Power RV65D refrigerator freezer, and I got both sides set to 0. So this is going to use some serious power tonight. And I know within 24 hours, this RV battery should be down to about 50%. Well, let's give it a chance to do its thing. I'll see you guys back out here bright and early in the morning. It's been a little over 24 hours. We're back to the camper to check on the status of the battery. I've got the app open here, and we were able to kill this battery down to 59%. So I think we did a pretty good job there. The refrigerator that's inside still is using about 60 watts or so of power. We might have a couple of other ghost draws and things in there. Oh, it went down to 17, so maybe the compressor kicked off. But it says right now, as of this point, according to this app, we could use this battery still for like 131 hours at the rate that we're at. I don't think that's quite accurate. Maybe because it's only using 19 watts right now. Well, getting you guys closer inside here where all the action is, I was able to get the Anderson connector hooked up to the battery, and our terminal post fit just fine in the terminals that were provided on this connector. So we didn't have to change anything, so that's good. And then we also brought out the charger itself out here to the camper. So let's get this connected up, and we're gonna see how much power this thing will put in to the battery. I got a couple of things to set up, so let me go take care of that, and we'll get this installed, and we'll see if it truly will provide 80 amps of power. Okay, I'm gonna turn this all off right here. All right, guys, as you can see here, I got an extension cord running from the house all the way out here to the camper. And I've got the 80 amp charger plugged into it. So we're going to have power now. I just hit my head. But going further in here, following these leads, this is the Anderson connector. It's going to be connecting into that adapter right there. All right, let's do it. Here it goes. That's a tight fit. This is such an easy thing to operate. So it's plugged in, it's connected to the battery. All you got to do is hit this switch over here and turn it on. The fan will start momentarily, and then it'll shut itself down. And this right now is allegedly putting in 80 amps into this battery. You guys can hear right now the fan just kicked itself on, so it's obviously working. I'm going to go over to the other side and show you guys the lights that it's got. But looking right here, you can see if the light's solid red, that means the power's on. And then the top light, if the light's solid red, it means it's charging. And also when it turns green, that means that it's fully charged. Wonder how long that's going to take. I've opened up the battery app so we can check and see what the status of the battery is and the charging. And right now it's showing that we're back to 60%. And the current that's flowing through this is 77 amps. So this is truly an 80 amp charger, so very cool. And it's putting in over 1,000 watts. And the really cool thing up the top here is estimated charge time. It's only going to be an hour and a half until this charger has the 300 amp hour battery fully charged. It's pretty amazing. I want to show you guys the difference between this and the converter chargers that I installed. So let me turn this off, and we'll swap over to that charger and see what the difference is, because you're going to be like, what? That basically means I got to go power up the camper. Be right back. Let's turn that on. Turn that on. That. Skip that. Skip that. And this is the converter button. So I got to turn this on. We're going to check and see how much power this converter that's making all this noise is going to be putting into that battery. Prepare to be not amazed. I got the converter back connected. I'm going to pop up the app here and show you guys that it's bringing in 18 amps, which isn't even close to the 77 amps that this was pulling in. It's only pulling in 250 watts. So in order to charge this battery from 61 to 100%, according to this app right now, it's going to take over 6 hours. My whole thought process behind thinking this was going to really benefit us over the converter that we have installed in the camper. Yeah, the converter can be used all the time. It can be used to top the batteries off, or it can be used to keep it at a trickle charge. But when you've got your battery down to a certain level and you need to get it charged back up, let's say that you're out there boondocking in the middle of nowhere and you need to use your generator in order to charge up your battery. If you had to run your generator for 6 hours to charge up one battery, what's the point of that? With this being able to do the same job in an hour and a half, it's going to save you gas for your generator, it's going to save you wear and tear on the generator, and it's going to keep things a lot more quiet for your neighbors. It looks like the converter is doing a little bit better this time than it did the last time that we showed this, because last time it was closer to 18 hours. Even though it's better, it's still not good. Well, this is a little bit after 4 o'clock, and I think that since we've proven that Big Truck, Big RV was right, and that converter is a total knockoff, I think it's time to shut that thing down and let the big boy work. Actually, before we turn the converter off, let's see if we can use this in addition to the converter. So looking back at the app right here, we're getting 18.07 amps going into the battery right now. So if I turn this on, we should be getting closer to 100, right? And again, this battery is rated for 200 amps. So let's see, let me turn this on. It's running. Well, it kicked on, now it's kicked off. I guess now it's assessing things to see if it can come on. But it's jumped up to 26 amps. And I think it's going to probably hit pretty hard here in just a minute. And there it kicked up, and we're almost to 90 amps. So I guess that this is probably putting in 77 amps like we said before, and the converter is putting in another 12. So in an hour and 18 minutes, this battery should be topped off. But I'm going to go turn the converter off, and we're going to let this bad boy do the whole thing. Well, while this charger is working, I'm going to go get set up for one more test. I want to see if our generator is strong enough to operate this. Well, in the words of the GNU guy, it'll be all right. Well guys, just in the short amount of time that it took me to get the generator set up over there, this charger already charged the battery. Look at this app. It already charged it up to 65 degrees. It's cold out here, so my mouth is kind of not working right. But 65% in a matter of just a few minutes is pretty good. The generator's running over there. We've got the app right there. Then we've got the power button right here. So let's turn this on and see how much power the generator is going to generate, or I guess the charger is going to generate being powered by the generator. Let's hope that it works. All right, the fan kicked on, and it kicked back off, so now it's assessing things. Let's go over here to the lights and make sure that everything is working. So we got a red charge light, or a red charge light and a red power light, so everything's good. The generator just kicked up, so I know that, and the fan kicked on, so I know it's working. Let's pull up the app here. Yep, it's 78 amps, so it's working just exactly the way that it should off the generator, so that's amazing. That's a relief. Well, the generator needs to run anyway, so I'm gonna let it go for about an hour. I'm gonna come back out and check on the status of the battery. Work, baby, work. So we've got an hour and 18 minutes and we should have a full battery. Right now it's 4:30. I'll see you at 5:30. All right guys, well I came out here a little bit early. It's not even 5 o'clock yet. It's been less than a half hour and we're already up to 79%. And that means that we've got about 48 minutes until we're 100% full. And it's still working hard at 70, it's throwing in 76 amps, 150 or 1,050 something watts. Well, this thing's doing really well, but there is one thing I wanted to check before we concluded this whole operation. One of the things people have concerns with is the amount of heat that these things generate. So I've got this trusty thermometer gun thing here, and I'm gonna check and see how much heat's generated in through there and the actual shell itself, the cables. The cables do feel a little bit warm, but they're not hot. And I'm gonna check all the way up into there. So let me pull the trigger here and see what kind of a reading we can get. So the highest temperature that I can get inside there looks like it's 110 degrees. That's inside where everything is moving around and everything is working. The case itself, I'm getting a reading of 70 degrees. So that's not hot at all. I want to also test these cables. So right now I'm on the black cable, I'm getting a reading of 55 degrees. And on the red one, like I said, they do have some warmth to them. On the red one it says 57 degrees. Let's work our way up to the connector and see where we're at. So I've got the dot correct right on the connector there, and we're getting a reading of 71 degrees. Well, that answered my question. Well guys, let me ask you, are you satisfied with those tests? Let's get everything packed up, we'll go into the shed and we'll have ourselves a little conclusion. I think me and LiTime just became best friends. This thing solves a problem. Now the only other thing that I've got to address now is getting that old converter out of there and getting it replaced with something that actually works. I do want to thank LiTime for reaching out and letting us try out their 80 amp charger. If you guys are interested in finding more information out about this charger or about LiTime in general, just click on the link in the description. It'll take you straight to their website. Now as always guys, I want to thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great week. God bless.